even during those low times where I felt like a useless husband, where I felt like, maybe I'm not bringing enough to the table. There was not even one point in time during that time where my wife made me feel that way. It was always outside. But then it got especially rough when we found out about our second one. A family member was like, how are you guys doing this? Don't you guys know about contraceptives? Ooh. Don't you guys know about family planning? Yeah, it got to a point where she also started seeing it. Like, hi man, you're changing. What's wrong with you? The way you speaking to me is different now. What's happening with you and whatever.
Sure.
And literally, that was the first time ever in my life where I could see my wife's soul is crushed.
Man.
I did that.
Man.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband podcast with me, Black Newborn. Here we are husbands who aren't where we want to be, but certainly are not where we used to be. We are imperfect, always failing forward, trying to know better so that we can do better.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to That Husband podcast with me, Black Newborn. This is where husbands try to know better so that we can do better. Before we jump into this episode, we want to thank everybody who's been supporting us. If you are new, you can support us by hitting that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you're updated on every single episode we drop every Wednesday at 11 right here on That Husband. If you want to support us, man, there's two ways you can do that. One, you can buy us coffee. We love coffee here. It energizes us. It keeps us going so that we make more of this content. And you can click on our comment section. There's a link that sends you to where you can buy us as many coffees as your heart desires. So please do support us in that regard. Number two, you can book me either as an MC or facilitator for your next event, or you can book me as a speaker to come speak on anything pertaining theology, relationships, culture, or the intersection of those three things. And you can drop us an email at booking@blacknewborn. That's booking@blacknewborn.com. The husband that's sitting across the table from me today is the modern Dame Quenyan, aka Shaun Mahlangu. Now, man, dog, I actually know your other name, dog.
What's my other name?
Don't you have two names?
I have 3 names.
Damn.
Yeah.
What's up, dog?
What's up, man?
You good?
I'm great.
Let's actually start there, dog.
Yeah?
Your names.
Yeah.
Shaun.
It's actually Mlungisi,
Yeah.
Sbusiso, Shaun Mahlangu.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. You know what's funny about that, dog?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to expose myself to the net. But we have to, because we're here. This is a special moment for me. That's my name.
What?
Mlungis.
You lie.
My dad wanted to name me my mom wanted to name me Sbusiso. Right?
That's crazy.
And my dad was like, no offense to you. My dad was like, that's a cheesy name. Right? We're not going to name our son Smoother. Because every black boy in the hood, his name's Smoother. And it's like, you love Brown, right? You find it everywhere.
Thanks.
So my government name is Mlungisi, bro.
Really?
It's Buck.
That's crazy.
So,
first name.
And only name.
Damn me up. That's crazy.
So when I was thinking, I'm like,
yeah.
What are the chances?
Why did they name you Mlungisi?
I don't know.
Wait, are you firstborn?
I'm firstborn. Yeah.
Likewise.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So maybe that's why, because when I saw your page, I was like, dance. What I said off camera.
Yeah.
That if we were a record label, we'd sign you.
Yeah.
Because we both fighting for the same thing.
The same
right?
thing.
We want to make sure that like being a husband gets good PR. You know what I mean?
Has to.
So I think it is tied to our names, man. We're fixing.
Yeah, we are fixing.
We're fixing marriage. Yeah. We're fixing the country.
So, one podcast at a
time. Come on, Doug. So
yeah,
it's a pleasure, man, to have you here.
Thank you. I'm honored.
This is dope, bro. Before we continue in our chat, because we've already kicked it, there's a book we're compiling. Mm-hmm. And we want to make it a free resource to dudes who are not married.
Nice.
Who, find the Institute of Marriage as something that doesn't have value. They're despondent. They're disillusional when it comes to husbandhood.
Yeah.
Either because they don't have role models, or the role models that are there are just giving marriage a bad PR. But we also want to write it for dudes who are who don't have a community of husbands, so they're walking alone. They probably following your page, and they're like, man, this is the closest we get to what a modern day Mkwenyana is. That husband podcast is the only community we have.
100%.
And so we want to say to them, man, there's many other dudes, who actually are husbands who are failing forward, who are trying hard to show up as husbands.
I like that, failing forward.
Yeah. We don't want to. We're gonna fail. We've been married long enough to know that our list of failures are massive, right? But we don't want to fail and remain there and be stagnant. We want to fail forward, man. It's cool when I meet people and they catch that phrase in our logo, because our logo is a husband who's failing forward. He's tripping up, but he keeps going, right? So we putting work in that book by asking our guests to define what a husband is.
Sure.
So if you would define to us, aka modern day Mkwenyana, what is a husband, bro?
I would say being husband, obviously, you married to a wife.
Sure. Definitions are important.
Yeah, they're very important. We need to be clear. We need to be clear.
Sure.
But I think it's someone that decided that, okay, this lady that I'm with on this journey called life, I need to honor her. I need to protect her. I need to be with her through it all. But it's thick and thin, better or worse and whatever. And I think that's mainly what it is. And it's amazing because it's twofold. She does the same for you. And I think a lot of men need that support, be it from their mothers, their sisters. But I think the best comes from your wife. So I would say my definition of a husband is someone who took the words, the two shall become one, literally and seriously, and is moving forward, failing forward, succeeding forward with this person, no matter what.
Sure, man.
Yeah, so I would say that's dope, my definition.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
And that's been you for 5 years now.
For 5 years now. Yeah. But it feels like 8 years because I've been here for I've been with her for 8 years.
For 8 years, yeah. When you met her, you had said that you were in a rough patch.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I was coming out of so in the previous year, which was matric.
Yeah.
I was coming out of a long-term relationship and whatever. I messed up.
Sure.
Yeah. It was me and whatever. So I went on this path. It was first year. You know how varsity goes. First year, all the stuff, drinking, partying and whatever. And I've always been Christian.
Sure.
Right. And then I was born again when I was 15. So I'd always come back to the church. I'd always come back to God and all of that. And he literally put a stop to it and said, hey, brah, you can't sustain this. This is unsustainable. You need to chill. You need to settle down, focus on your studies, be a good person and all of that stuff. And then, so when I wasn't looking, and I think that's how a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
When I wasn't looking, I had met her before. I forgot. Yeah.
Was this first encounter by the bench? Or the second encounter?
The first encounter by the bench, right? Was literally our first date.
Okay.
So I'd met her before, Minati.
Smack. Yeah.
And all of that.
All of a sudden.
And then so dumb. But I reintroduced myself. And I didn't know I was reintroducing myself. I was like, hey, how are you?
Sure.
Shaun.
Yeah.
She's like, I met you before. I was like, ish.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even get into details. I was like, oh, no, I forgot. Sorry, whatever. And then we met again 2 months after that.
Okay.
She wanted to come to church with her friend and whatever. And then I started seeing her in a different light. I was like, okay. Then we started talking.
Girls look different at church, bro.
Yes, they do. They glow. They glow. And then we started talking and we just kept on talking.
Yeah.
And talking. That winter break is 4 weeks. So we spoke every day for 4 weeks.
Crazy.
The whole day.
Crazy, bro.
And just during all those chats, I was like, hey, I think I might like this girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how we met. It was I think during all those talks, even though we're in two separate places, I think that's when I decided I want to pursue her. And then the bench, the milkshake date, what we call it.
Yeah.
Literally before that date, I was there in my res room and I was like, I prayed to God. I was like, God, if this person is gonna waste my time,
Sure.
let this thing finish.
Sure.
Let it not be a good date. Let it suck. Let it suck so bad, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if she is, then let it be a good date. And I think
Sure.
that was the best date I've ever been on.
Come on, bro.
In my entire life. I
Mm.
left there. I was like, oh my gosh,
Sheesh.
I need to.
Yeah.
I need to double down on this. I need to put all the riz on Max.
Yeah.
Do the most. I need this girl. You know, and that's like, yeah, that's how it started.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's fire, bro. Your story is profound. It's layered with like interesting twists and turns.
A lot of them.
And it's just like, man, I you know, when I was just digging around about you, I was jealous, bro.
What do you mean?
And I was like, man, like I always advocate for guys to get married young.
Yeah.
I got married young.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, man, just get married young. That thing is
just
amazing.
do it.
Right?
Yeah.
The thing you did that I didn't do
Mm-hmm.
is have kids
Yeah.
when you were young.
A lot of them.
Right?
Yeah.
I have one kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm like, dang it. Like, I should have had like 5 of them in my 20s.
Really?
Just finished this thing.
Clap it.
They would have been older now, you
Yeah.
know. And a friend of mine, he's a bit younger than me,
Mm-hmm.
but we got married around the same year.
Yeah.
And then that year, they were pregnant, you know, when we got married.
Sure.
And then they just like popped them.
Yeah. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
How
3
many?
boys.
Oof.
Right? And we went to a wedding last year.
Mm.
And so he was preaching at this wedding. I get there. Yeah, what's up, dog? Cool. Yeah. Where are the boys?
Yeah.
Nah, they're at home. Oh, with who? Alone. I was like, damn it, bro.
That's what we're working towards.
Yeah. I'm like, by the time, bro,
Yeah.
we're in our late 40s,
Mm.
that guy is gonna have a son who's in varsity.
100%.
And they're gonna have man conversations
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, if I have another kid now,
Oh.
when I fetch him at school, they'll be like, yo, dog,
what's this old man
your
doing
grandfather's here to pick you up. So I'm like, dang it, man.
Yeah.
That's and the sentiment is shared between me and my wife. We just
Yeah.
like, man, we should have had, you know. And part of it is drinking the Kool-Aid of like middle class life.
Yeah.
You know, coming from homes where, you know, or being raised by a generation of people who are deprived materially, you know? And so now they're like, no, when you go to school, dream hard, do stuff,
Yeah.
get your career right.
Gain.
Right? Then.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, the formula is the other way around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because by
Yeah.
the time you get to your 30s, that's really when your career is booming. And it's going to require more of your attention. If you're having kids in your 30s, you're not going to have time for
You're
them.
going to have time.
Because your career is demanding. And so one thing is going to have to, you know, fall off.
And it happens with your financials as well.
Yep.
You garner a lot of things. You drive a certain car. You're
Yep.
in a certain place.
Exactly.
And then the kid comes in and feels like a whole inconvenience.
Yes. Now you have to change,
Now you
right?
have to change.
You are driving your nice coupe, and now you're like, damn.
Now
I
you need to get the 4-door.
I need yeah, right?
Yeah.
And now you have to shift things, bro. But
Exactly.
you say it in your routines, you know.
Yeah.
All of that to say, like, where does this thing start for you, bro?
Yeah.
Why, man? You got married when you were 22.
Yes.
Insane.
Yeah.
You're still in varsity.
Yep. Yeah.
One of your kids is born
Yeah.
while you're still in school.
Yep.
That guy behind the camera is in
Yeah.
varsity right now.
Uh-huh.
He's freaking out. Look at his face. He can't even imagine getting married, having a kid
Yeah.
while finishing off his degree.
Yeah.
Who gave you this idea?
Dude,
Where did you see it?
My
Did your
goodness.
dad like mirror this, like play this thing out, and you just mirroring what you were raised with?
I would say I low-key married him
Okay.
without even knowing it. Because
Okay.
he got married young. He got married at 23.
Crazy, bro.
So he was just a year older than me. But for him, he got a kid, me, when he was
Okay.
25.
Okay.
So he waited
So
like
he
2
waited
years.
2 years.
Yeah. I don't know how they did it. I'm like, hey, they'll tell me that information.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Sure.
But for me, it was, so my wife was the first to work. She was the first to
Okay.
work. She got done quick, clapped it. Me, varsity was trapping me left, right, and center. It was not playing with me. A 3-year degree took me 5 years.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah, I'm still mad about that, but it's all right.
Now you're done now, though.
You know, so I was in what I call my final year.
Okay.
Yeah, because the first final year it didn't work out. So my final year, she started working. So I like to say she moved us out of the hood.
Yeah.
You
Come
know?
on now. Come on
Because
now.
we're in rest together. She started working. She got us a place. This was after.
Wait, you got
yeah.
married while you lived in Res?
Yeah. So that final year, it was supposed to be my final year. I had saved up money.
That's wild. Before you continue, dog.
Yeah.
How do your parents allow you to do that?
It was 2019 was meant to be my final year.
Sure.
Right? And I was killing it. I think that was my best year academically. I was killing it, right? And I was like, yeah, nah. And I had a business at the time, at a bursary. Like, life was just great. And then came 2020, I had like a few more modules to go through. But beginning of that year, literally during the pandemic.
Sure.
Like in March, April, I was at home, obviously missing her. She was at home as well.
Yeah.
And I went up to my parents. I was like, look, at the end of this year, I'm getting married. Like, oh, all right. How are you going to do it?
They were like, hey, maybe you have COVID.
Yeah. You sick in the head.
COVID Bambi.
Yeah. Nah, I was like, I'm marrying. They knew her. They knew her for years.
Okay.
They knew her. And I was like, I'm going to get married. They're like, how are you going to do it? I'm going to save money from my business.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go kota.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, no, if you can gather the money, gather the courage and whatever.
Come on, bro.
We'll talk about this again in October.
Sure.
And then I'll write you the letter.
That's your dad saying
That's
that.
my dad.
Come on, bro.
And so, yeah, we went through it, saved my money, right? Blew it all.
What did you blow the money?
I don't know, man. I somehow got back. I got back to varsity to be with her. And we were bored. We were bored. So like, slowly it was just going. And then I went to God. I literally prayed and I was like, God, hey, I blew that money you gave me.
You bought McDonald's, man.
McDonald's, the whole shebang, anything that you, because the thing is, it was a boring time. It was a boring time. So like entertainment was scarce. So now you just spend on like different things,
That's funny, bro.
And so I went back to God. I was like, God, hey, I know the plan was this, but I blew the money.
Yeah.
Help me out. Help me make this money back. And lo and behold, I made the money back. I think within 2 or 3 months.
Sure.
Just in time for me to meet with my dad. We met with my dad and he was like, you guys are serious. He sat us down.
Sure.
I said, yes. He wrote down the letter, gave it to her, and then she went and gave it to her parents.
Is she your firstborn?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's firstborn on firstborn.
Sure.
Yeah. And then we went that December. He did the thing. It was a wonderful occasion. Her family amukhalad me.
Yeah.
It was a nice occasion. Then came 2021 when she started working.
Sure.
And then one thing led to another. Yeah, we got pregnant. And this was like my final year.
Sure.
And so
how long did you live at Res before she moved you out? She took you out of the
It was a month.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a month.
Okay.
It was a month.
Okay.
Before that was obviously the 3 or 4 years that I spent in Res with her.
Yeah, sure.
But she was like, nah, bruh, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Sure.
Let's be together. We're supposed to be together.
Yeah.
And then
what are some of the students saying, bro? Because this is massive. Like we all in
no,
varsity.
it was crazy. We were like low-key famous.
Yeah.
In like varsity. We were, because we had a YouTube channel and it blew up like crazy.
YouTube.
Yeah, it was crazy. So everybody knew about us. It was like a huge deal. And then I think many people were shocked when like right after varsity I went and paid lobola. It was the beginning of lobola.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh wow, congratulations, that whole thing and everything. And then the final year came. We're living together. We're in like Pretoria North. We moved to Midrand. She was changing jobs. And then we got pregnant and literally I was stressing. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm still a student. I don't even know if I'm gonna pass this year. Because this degree has just been throwing hands the whole time, bro. So sharp. Then I finish, and then literally a month before he was born, I got my first job.
Wow.
Literally exactly a month before he was born. It was a small intern job and whatever, but I was taking what I could take, but it was great.
Yeah.
So great start for a career and everything. I was a junior project manager. Cool, and so stuff was good. Yeah. It was good for a while. Yeah.
Man, that's dope, bro. Having a kid is just shocking to the system.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing. I've said this on this part a couple of times, but when I brought my daughter home, so my dad wasn't around.
Yeah.
After I turned 15, he left. I looked at her and I was like, I get why men leave, dog.
Yeah.
Because I need to keep you alive, dog.
Exactly.
Like,
You'll do anything for that child.
And I'm like, I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I'm a Popeye, bro. Like, how is a whole Popeye meant to look after a whole human?
Yeah.
Forever.
You know what I mean? Literally for the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life, bro. I need to look after her, bro. You know?
Even when she's done, she's working, you still need to be there.
She's still my kid.
Exactly.
She's going to get married one day. That's my hope.
She's still your kid.
But she's still my kid, though, right? And I'm like, man, like I just had an immense pressure on my shoulders in that moment, you know? Yeah. But at the same time, everything in me was like, you're nuts, though. You're not leaving.
Relax.
Yeah, we're not leaving.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter how hard this thing is going to get. You're not vying, though, you know?
You're not going to repeat the cycle.
Can't, bro. You can't, you know? So I'm like, man, you have a kid, degrees, trapping you, things are rough, you're moving around, bro.
Yeah.
Mentally, how are you coping with all of this stuff, bro?
I think, you know, the relationship that my wife and I have is really incredible. She's like literally my best friend.
Still, bro.
We literally prayed through it all, laughed through it all. It's just we are each other's, you know, rock. It's like two crutches. Still, you know, bro. When you use the one, it's like, bro, just use the other one and get and heal faster. Yeah. You know, don't use the one, use both. Exactly. You know, don't be a hero.
Yeah.
You know, but it's literally just been God and her, and obviously, you know, support here and there from like family and whatever. But it was, I think, like the first time I saw my son, like my life completely changed.
Sure, man.
And I was like, no matter what happens, I need to take care of not only this kid, but this woman. Because she comes from a single mother, and her mother's mother was a single mother. So it was like, I would say, a breaking of a cycle.
Yeah.
You know, to do what we did. And man. It was amazing. But literally all my kids are 18 months apart. Literally, it's like bam, bam, bam. But I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell you what I tell people.
Yeah.
None of this was planned.
Sure.
At all.
Sure.
At all.
Sure.
I think my second is the one that rocked the most. It rocked the most. It was after I got retrenched from the first job.
No way, bro.
Yeah. And then we find out we're having another one. She's also crashing out. She's like, how are we gonna do this?
Oh.
And in hindsight, we regretted it so much. We regretted it so much. You know, children, you know, when the Bible says that children are a blessing, they're a reward, he means it in every aspect possible. 100%. Be it your capacity, your strength, your heart. Because I didn't think I could love more than one child.
Sure.
My firstborn was like everything.
Yeah. I mean, you got his name tatted, bro.
Yeah, all of them are tatted somewhere. On my body. Yeah, fire. And I also got my wife now. Fire. Just playing fair.
Yeah. You're like, after the first time, it's like okay.
Yeah, no, I had subtle reminders.
Yeah.
But literally all of them were not planned, and with each and every child I've had, there's been an extension of grace. Yeah. There's been an extension of favor. Yeah. So I was retrenched for a couple of months before we found out we were pregnant again with our second one. Whew. And it was bad. It was really bad because we were struggling with our son. Actually, our in-laws were helping a lot. They were helping a lot in terms of babysitting, even financially. They didn't send us money or anything, but they would just buy
presents,
the kid stuff like diapers, formula. Everything was like covered, you know. So obviously appreciated that, but you know, it when we found out that we're pregnant again, it just put another mountain of pressure on me, on us, and you know, even when she couldn't tell her mom, I had to tell her mom, like, yo, it's gonna be all right. Because what else am I supposed to say? It's gonna be all right.
Hey, what's gonna be all right?
Everything, you know. And I remember when she told my mom, because she didn't know how to tell her mom.
Yeah.
And she was crying. She was bawling out. My mom was like, no. Every child is a blessing. Every child is a blessing. There'll be a way, you know. My mom calls me Lungi. Lungi will work. You know, don't worry.
Why does she call you that?
Hey, man, I'm Lungi.
Okay, there it is.
You know, it's like, Lungi will work. Don't worry. What? And so it even got so bad for me where, like, it just got really bad, dude. Like, You know, even when she would work, like, you know, the devil tries to come in with different, you know, styles.
Come on,
you know,
bro.
with
Yeah.
different swag for you,
Yeah.
you know. And, you know, he like literally would just put me in a corner and made me like feel useless.
Yeah.
And I just kept on feeling useless, entertaining useless thoughts and all of that stuff. And it just put me in this rut. And then one day I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not gonna be that guy. I was that guy before, you know. I was that guy before that God blessed.
Yeah.
And I'm still that guy now.
Sure.
It's just a matter of time.
Timing, bro.
And, you know, out of the blue, a friend of mine from varsity was working for some company in Durban. It's like, hey, man, you still looking for work? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm still looking for work.
Sure.
And then he's like, nah, send me a CV, do this. I was like, okay. Seems like we're getting motion and stuff. You know, he didn't have to, but, you know, he did. You know, somebody up there reminded him.
Come on now.
You know, and literally 3 months before my son was born, I'd gotten another job. Came in clutch once again.
Same pattern,
and I was getting paid way much more than the first job.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Way much more than the first job.
Dope timing, bro.
But also it was a workplace that was crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it was toxic. Is not even, I can't even put it into words how crazy it was.
So that salary came with a cost.
It came with a huge cost, you know, it came with a huge cost. But literally with each and every one of my children, there has been an extension of immense grace, you know.
Sure.
Even with having, long before we had our daughter, it was just like God opening, you know, doors, different types of doors with, you know, campaigns and business and all of that stuff, you know. So it's been really amazing.
Stop,
and you know, we're actually talking about it with my wife this week. We hear the same thing. And I want to say it on the pod so that people stop saying it to people who are having kids.
Come on now.
Right?
Yeah.
You tell them how many kids you have.
Yeah.
And this is what they say. They say, in this economy.
Yeah. Sure.
Ooh, in this economy, you know. But I'll never, like, you know, respond in a mean way or in a rude way or whatever. But in my head always, and I was saying it to my wife, I'm like, we're not in this economy. We're in God's economy,
bro.
Because we have 3 kids. I was also talking about this with my best friend yesterday. It's like, you have 3 kids, but you can still do what you want.
You hear now?
Yeah. Exactly. You can still do what you want.
Yeah, sure.
And that's when because we went through rough financial times with my wife.
Yeah.
Very rough, very terrible.
Bro, people who are not married with no kids go through financial times.
Yeah.
People who are married with no kids go through financial times. So I'm like,
everybody goes through it.
We'll go through
everybody goes through it. And, you know, it was only when we literally relinquished everything to God and said, you know what, we don't know anything. Bro. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But God, we're giving this to you. And we literally were living like we're delusional in Christ.
Sure.
You know, and we're just praying, you know, trusting God, you know, going to church and all of that. And it's when we let go that God started, you know, it's like, okay, you guys are really trusting me.
You surrendered now.
Yeah. And then that's when he started, you know, flooding us with blessings everywhere, from different things. You know, so it's been, that's why I always encourage people, have kids.
Have kids, bro.
Just have them.
And have them early.
Yeah.
No, it is tough.
It's tough.
It's rough, yeah.
It's very rough. It's work.
Yeah.
You get home from work, and there's
and
more
your
work.
real work starts.
You're putting on your uniform now for the second job of the day. But it's so fulfilling seeing them interact, seeing us as like a whole bunch.
Sure, man.
It's tiring, but at the end of the night, you're like, damn, you know what? I'm a great husband and I'm a great father. Yeah. And I'm doing my best. Sure. The kids are fed, they're clothed,
they're alive.
You know, they're alive.
Sure.
So yeah, that's it's crazy to say the least. But God gives you that extension of strength, that extension of capacity, that extension in the finances. He covers you. When you give yourself, you give your marriage, you give your children to God, and He just comes in clutch every time.
Yeah. Bro, I think there's a couple of things I want us to paddle back on. You know, because you gave us quite a lot there. Side note, when somebody asks you again, you know, why are you having kids in this economy? Best response is to say, my God is not broke. If yours is, then you
Yeah,
should worry, because mine isn't.
100%.
My God is not broke,
Nope,
bro.
nope, nope,
Right?
nope.
So
Yeah,
I'll keep serving him and obeying him.
100%.
He commands us to
Yeah,
have kids.
no child is a mistake.
No, bro. Nah, bro.
It's in his plan.
Yeah. You
Might not be in yours.
Yes, and you might question what a definition of blessing is.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's in the tough times. That's what I did. I looked at my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, you say this thing is a
It's a
blessing.
It's a reward.
Oh yeah, I did English higher grade. I know what blessing
This thing is
means.
supposed
This,
to be.
this is not blessing, right? So I'm like, you can
Yeah.
wrestle through that, man. But there's such a joy in seeing their personalities develop. You know, it's quite a dope thing. 2 things I want us to paddle back on: get married, you get retrenched. What are some of the naysayers saying? Or did you even remember were they some haters, naysayers? You know, how the hell would you get married if you're still in varsity? What is this guy doing? You think you better, dog? Like, why would you settle? Do this thing now. Like, there's many chicks, many fish in the sea. You can go fish around and find your way. Did you have that? If you did some of those voices come back when the things were a bit tough financially? And if so, how did you handle that? Yeah.
I would say definitely with getting married young, there were some naysayers. Family. You'd hear it through the grapevine. They would never come and say it to the face. To your face. I mean, they never do. But anyway,
they see this now.
But I, but I think my parents brought me up in a certain way. My dad always said, no one was ever imprisoned for being a dreamer. So dream as big as you want. Have faith as big as you want. And his story is
damn, bro.
His story is the most incredible story
Sure.
that I love to tell, but
Sure.
it's a long story. But
bro, it's a podcast, bro. We're not running away.
Yeah. So
let's celebrate your homie, bro.
Yeah. So my dad is so he came from Zim, from Bulawayo, after his parents passed.
Okay.
Yeah. His dad passed first when he was 15.
Sure.
And I think his mom passed when he was 18.
Yeah.
And then 21, he was living with his sister, I believe. And then he just decided, nope, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go to South Africa, and I'm gonna figure it out.
Sure.
And then his sister literally said, yeah, no, that's what a man does. That's what men are supposed to do. So he left with nothing. Literally nothing, not even a car, bike, nothing. Nothing. Came to Joburg, worked a lot of different odd jobs until he became a bartender, and later on he was really good at his job that he became like the bar manager or the restaurant manager and all of that. That's where he met my mom.
Sure.
He didn't have much, but they literally dated 6 months, and he said, I'm going to your homestead.
Shout out.
To pay lobola.
Shout out.
Yeah. And they did that. They didn't have anything. They lived together. Then they had me. Things was tough.
Sure.
They sent me to go live with my grandmother. I think I was there for like 2 years.
Sure.
It was I don't remember the time that well, but I do remember my grandmother.
Yeah.
And then they came and fetched me, and literally everything that he has now was just by God's grace.
Man.
The house, the land, everything, his business.
Man.
He has no qualifications whatsoever. He didn't work for some firm or anything.
Sure.
Like his whole life is a testimony. And so having that, being brought up by that kind of person,
Sure.
puts a different kind of motivation in you,
Yeah.
puts a different kind of inspiration in you,
Sure.
and drive, because I'm like, okay, my dad didn't have the degree I have. He didn't have access to the things that I have access to now. He wasn't living here nice, in these white people areas.
With the twang.
With the twang. Exactly.
Sure.
And so he never gave me any pushback for getting married young.
He's a dreamer,
He literally said, oh, I did it at 23, you're doing it at 22.
Sure.
And then when we had Zane, I was like, you did it, I did it at 23, you did it at 22. He'll do it at 21.
21, yeah, come on. Man.
So that's the kind of person that brought me up. And obviously the two tend to become one. My mom is on the same thing.
Sure.
Because she's seen what my
How old
dad
was she
did.
when they got married?
I think he's a year older than she is. So she was 22, he was 23.
23, fire, bro.
Yeah. So they were naysayers and whatever. And even when I got retrenched and I was unemployed for a while,
Sure.
Yeah, it got rough.
Yeah.
Got rough. I think it got especially rough when we found out about our second one. Because a family member, I'm just not gonna say exactly. Yeah, a family member was like, how are you guys doing this? Don't you guys know about contraceptives? Ooh. Did you guys know about family planning?
Yeah, sure.
You know, that kind of thing. And
with your degrees.
You guys went to school and all of that stuff. And you know, it obviously pisses you off and stuff. Like you speaking to me in a condescending way.
Yeah.
But you know what, it's fine. Let me let you have your moment.
Sure.
And all of that. But I think for me is I had faith in God, even though it was tough.
Yeah, bro.
I had faith in God. Even during those low times where I felt like a useless husband, where I felt like, you know, maybe I'm not bringing enough to the table. But, you know, the most amazing thing is there was not even one point in time during that time where my wife made me feel that way. It was always outside.
That's what I was thinking about now. What are some of the things that she said to you, bro?
You know, she built me up. She always said to me that don't worry, things will work out. We'll figure this out. We figured things out together all the time. So don't worry. Don't feel like you're not bringing enough to the table. Don't worry about me. Not going anywhere. You know, many things. She was happy. She was happy to pay the rent. It didn't feel like an obligation for her.
Sure.
She was happy to pay the rent, pay the groceries. I remember we even had this tradition. Whenever she would get paid, we used to go to Eastgate Mall.
Come on,
and she would take us out. Me and the little bra, you know, take us out. You know,
I'm proudly a Ben 10.
Exactly, I'm a house husband.
I'm a house husband.
You know, and you know, she would do that. She would buy me clothes, take us on holidays.
Yeah.
You know, which is crazy. To think that we were on a single, you know, income.
Yeah, man.
But you know, she'd take us on holidays like twice a year. You know, twice that year. You know, and you know, she would always say to me whenever I'd feel like, you know, down bad and feel like you know, I'm not enough.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, tables turn. Things change. One day you're gonna be sitting at the table with more to offer. But because what's mine is yours, I'm not gonna feel lesser than. And she was right.
Yeah. Man, that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
For you in those moments, like what were some of the darkest thoughts that you got to? And I say this in light of, you know, again, June being Men's Mental Health Month. And I was doing a thing with YFM on Wednesday. And we spoke about the financial pressures around men's depression and anxiety, you know. And I think part of what makes depression or anxiety tough for us is it doesn't necessarily start off as an internal thing, but not all the time, but particularly in the area of finances. It's how those we are meant to look after perceive us when we can't look after them.
Yeah.
You know, and that thing is depressing hard. When you look at your wife, you look at your kids, and you're like, man, I'm supposed to. You know, I think it's the same thing that women feel when they're infertile and they can't give birth. You know, it's like, man, I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
Every other woman can't. You know, what happened with my wife was breastfeeding. She couldn't, and again, it was like, this thing's supposed to be natural. I'm supposed to. You know, and that crushed her in ways that, man, I understand.
Imagine. Yeah.
But like, I don't think I'll ever get to the depth of what that truly is. And so this side of the table is like, when I can't provide. And that hits different.
Crushes you.
Yeah, you know. So what was some of the, like, a dark moment when you were like, yo, I need another Eastgate ice cream here because it's tough now.
Yo, there was one moment. I think, was she pregnant with our first or second? I can't remember. I feel like it was our second.
Sure.
It was after school. Because she's a teacher, by the way.
Yeah,
it was after school. So
English and French.
Crazy, you know, too much.
No.
Yeah. So I picked her up, and then she was having cravings. So yeah, pregnant wife.
Sure.
She was having cravings. Like, "Ish, I want this patlo from Pretoria North."
Sure.
Yeah, even now I still have a special relationship with patlos. And literally, bro, this patlo is one of the cheapest patlos you can find in Pretoria. What if it was 19 rand or 20 rand?
Sure.
I don't know what it was. So I don't even know what I was thinking. Maybe I thought I had it, but I didn't have it. Right?
The $20.
Exactly. So we drive all the way to Pretoria North, and that's far.
Sure.
Right? We get there, the lady's there. I'm asking, okay, how much is this patlo? It's like 19 rand or 20 rand, whatever it was. And then so I'm checking. Hey, there's nothing in my wallet. I'm busy counting coins.
Sheesh, bro.
Literally counting coins in front of her.
Sheesh, bro.
And I was literally like, I think I was like 1 rand or 2 rand away from affording this patlo. And I obviously couldn't afford it. And so I had to go back in the car and tell her, look, I don't have it. And I think it was the time when we were going through financial difficulties, the both of us, even though she was working.
Sure.
We're going through financial difficulties. And, you know, she said to me, she was like, I can't believe things are so bad. We can't even afford a patlo.
Bro.
And, you know, as a man, that like, it was crushing, to say the least. I think about that a lot at that moment. I do.
Sure.
Even though things are great, I think about it a lot because
Does it motivate you?
Yeah, it does. But I think it more humbles me. Yeah,
Sure.
it more humbles me that at some point I had to tell my wife I don't have it. I don't have it. And I don't think that's something you ever want to tell the love of your life, because that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to provide. You're supposed to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I couldn't put food on the table. And it definitely, like, I low-key spiraled. After that, you know, it would even be a thing of like, it even got toxic, where now you start getting jealous and envious, not of your partner, but she comes home, she's telling you about a colleague of hers, right? But it's a general conversation. She's not talking about what the dude did or what the dude has, but she's talking about the dude. And then you're like, why is she talking about this guy? Why is she talking about this guy so much? Hey, what does he have? You know, so, you know, you get to that point where you're like, ish, what's going on?
Tough,
you know,
bro.
Even when I go and pick her up and stuff, you know, I'd be asking her, I'm like, yo, what time are you finishing? You know, what time are you finishing? Let's go home. You know, because I think low-key I was worried about the other people, the other dudes and all of that. So it got to that point where, it got to a point where she also started seeing it. You know, like, hi man, you're changing. What's wrong with you? The way you speaking to me is different now. What's happening with you and whatever.
Sure.
And literally, that was the first time ever in my life. It's never happened again, or even before that, where I could see my wife's soul is crushed.
Man.
I did that.
Man.
And, you know, I could see that there's a change in this person. That spark, that glow about her, I dimmed her light.
It's crazy, bro.
Because of the things, you know, I allowed myself to go through.
Sure.
And so I think literally seeing that, I woke up. I woke up from the depression slumber, from the anxiety slumber, from the envy slumber, and said, hey, dude, you are already broke. You've already lost your job. Now you're going to lose your wife.
Man. Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And so I woke up and I saw that, and I was like, I need to pray and repent and say, God, I'm sorry. I've allowed these feelings to put me in a box, to put me in a rut, to put me in a hole, and now that's crushing my wife. Help me fix this. And so I was on a path of like repairing, you know, that smile, you know, repairing that light in her. and all of that. And I said to myself, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna be a broke husband, I'm gonna be the person that is gonna make us smile the most.
Sure. The best broke husband.
The best broke husband in the entire world. The best of them. I even started cooking more. I was cooking more. I was cleaning, man. I was making her laugh. And I was doing the most, bruh. Hey, I was an MC in that house.
Come on, my dog.
Come on. Doubling down on the path of repairing the relationship. And she saw the change. She was happy. She was like, damn, I got my guy back. And that's all she wanted. It was for me to be happy so that the home is happy, so that she can be happy. She still says it till this day that, I look forward to seeing you at the end of every day because you brighten up my day.
Come on, bro.
And you're just a regular guy, man. You're just a regular guy, but she loves you because you are that regular guy, and so I was literally, when I started fixing things is then when I got the other job. And it speaks to, it is Men's Mental Health Month. It speaks to, if you sit, you can't build a shack in the land of adversity. You can't stay there. People will say, I'm going through it. Well, then go through it.
Go through it, bro. Yeah.
Go through it. Through is through.
Don't camp.
Don't camp.
Yeah.
Go through it.
That's not your address, bro.
Whether it's a day, a week, or a month, go through it.
Still, bro.
And it wasn't just like, parts of repairing, myself and repairing, our relationship and stuff. I also decided to start working out at that time.
Man.
Because I was like, hey, I can feel my emotions are not balanced. I need something, and that was the one thing that really helped me. And cooking. That's when I was doing the cooking videos and all of that. And that's when I started getting campaigns. And I was like, oh, I'm a content creator now.
I'm not just a broke
husband anymore. I'm now employed now.
Come on.
And I'm a content creator. So it's that thing where I'm like, I always tell the guys that, hey man, if you're going through something and you feel like you need to cry,
bro.
Cry in front of your wife.
Cry hard, bro.
Cry in front of your girl. And if she's not there for you while you're crying, it's like, nah, bien man, she's not your girl. I've cried multiple times in front of my wife.
Sure, man.
Broken down completely. I think the biggest breakdown was when I was working that job, and it put me in this. I could definitely say I was depressed, but I think the biggest thing was I was anxious all the time because I was dealing with some crazy people. Let me rather say crazy person. So it got toxic to the point where I'm going to work every day, but I don't want to go to work,
man.
I remember on multiple occasions, I'd wait up until I get into the car to go to work so I can cry in the car. That's crazy, bro. To cry in the car because I don't want to be here.
Man.
And because I know what it was like to be a broke husband.
Yeah, you don't want to be there
can't
either.
Leave this job.
Yeah.
I can't leave this job.
You literally stuck between a rock and a hard place, bro.
Yes.
Sure.
And it was a thing where I was like, I have kids to feed. My second was already here. I have a wife. I can't go back to that place. I just can't. I need to thug it out. I had to thug it out up until I got the next job. But the moral of this short story was that I could cry with my wife.
That's dope, bro.
And she could see me for me. And I think it's very important for men to be able to do that. Whether you're married or not, you should, if you have a partner, you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
And let her see you for who you really are.
That's true, bro.
And let her pick you up when you can't. You can't always be macho. Yes, we are masculine, we're men. But there are certain things and in certain ways where they have to pick you up. So
it's good, bro.
Yeah, man.
I always say to people, man, when again, we've been socialized in ways that are very unhelpful and unhealthy. When a man cries, we use phrases
it's
like,
frowned upon.
Yeah, a man doesn't cry, or why are you being a girl, or whatever, And I'm like, if we keep saying that to each other, why are you being a girl? I'm like, well, we'll never find out how a man cries then. if we don't allow him to cry and we always equate him to a little girl.
Exactly.
Maybe this is how a man cries.
He's supposed to
right?
cry.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't say, don't be a girl and be
Yeah.
like, wow, this is how a man cries. Yeah. This
Wonderful.
is how a man cries. Right? So stop trying to equate me to little girls. This is how I am, and I cry this way.
Yes.
And we should just, a friend of mine says that we not, because of that, we're not ready. Society is not ready for men who cry. It's like
100%.
there's some people who demand that men cry, and he asks a follow-up question. So if you demand that he cries, are you ready for that? Because you need to check your own way of how you've been socialized. You might cry, and then you'll be one of those partners who are like, hey,
whoa,
men
what's
up, men
happening?
up. Yeah. But on Instagram, you're like, yeah, men should cry. Men should cry.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm here.
Cry
and then he
then.
cries. And you're like, yay. Right? So I'm like, man, we should be, ready for a time when, society will accept that there's men who cry. There's men who cry. And in fact, I would argue that all men cry. We just cry in different places.
In corners.
In the shower, in the car, or when you're watching soccer.
Yeah.
And ironically, you wish your team could lose.
Yeah.
So that you can cry, can't you? It's all the other things that are inside. Yeah. Pirates is here. Yeah. No, he's crying because of his dad.
Yeah.
And Pirates is just a thing he's using as a springboard to actually cry now.
To
You know what I mean?
To let out those emotions. Yeah.
Because it's too embarrassed that he'll just cry and admit that I'm crying because of this. You know what I mean? When you were speaking about this partner, I'm like, man, counting coins like that, right? Might seem like a strange thing.
Yeah.
Because, as I was listening to you, I'm like, but dog, you knew you didn't have it. Why did you continue counting? You knew that the thing wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
But there's something about being a man that's part of the process.
Yeah.
You're processing the reality that you're living in. You know that you're not going to get to the 20 rand. And you're just like, man, with every coin that you're putting down, you're like, I can't believe this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
How did I get here? I know I'm not going to get to the $20, but allow me to go through that process because I'm also coming to terms with my own reality. And it is hard, then having to go explain to your wife what you've concluded in that moment. That, man, like, this is who I am. This, and your wife obviously is like, man, it's rough that we're in this situation. Flip of that, that's why you'd find a lot of men. There's a couple of other reasons why men would be reckless with money, right?
Yeah.
Sure, you didn't grow up with a family that's financially literate. They didn't teach you how to handle money. And so now you're bleeding all over your family in being reckless with the finances. And that's fine. That's a thing that we can use as a justification. But there are men, and I've fallen prey to that as well, where I'm like, I'm not reckless. I just splurging on my wife makes me feel like indoor touch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And part of that counting is like, I'm just waiting for the day where I don't have to count coins. And just be like, wait till I get my money. That's it, dog. Where you just like, I wish she would just walk in and I don't have to value things based on their monetary value.
Yeah.
I value them based on what I've determined as value. Right? So is it valuable for us to go on a private jet? If it's not, I'm not doing it.
Yes, 100%.
I'm not going on a private jet because people are like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
No. It's determined value, right? And as a man, I'm like, man, you just want to get, not because you want to flaunt to the world. No.
It's for this girl.
For this girl.
This one person.
This one girl.
Yeah.
Not Betty, Sophie, Mary. Forget. If Betty comes here, Betty Hambagin, go talk to your father.
Exactly.
Yeah. I didn't suffer like that
for Wayne.
And sing la in my way. It's not you, Betty.
Yeah.
It's for this one girl.
This one girl.
And I want this one girl to come in and just be like, man, I feel like Sparkle. And I'm like, I'll buy you the whole shop. The whole shop. But 100%. The other bread is gonna rot. It's fine.
It's fine.
For you.
Let it rot.
Yes, let it rot. For you, right? Yeah. And so it's hard to exercise that or even satisfy that desire when you don't have the right money.
Yeah.
And so then you kind of become reckless. You have, you just have $1,000. But man, that feeling is eating at you. It's pumping. And you just want to blow this 1,000 rand on your wife.
Yeah.
But you know you're going to be homeless. You blow it because that's your rent, that's your petrol, that's the kids' school fees.
You're gonna be a pedestrian.
You're gonna be a pedestrian.
Yeah.
But you just, you know?
Yeah.
And I say all of this to say, man, and just give perspective to wives. That sometimes, yes, there might be legit reasons. This guy is reckless with money. But I bet you, underneath that, man, sometimes there is just that thing. I care for you.
Yeah.
It's not for me. Like, I just want to splurge for you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I was just reminded of that now when you were talking that. And I'm like, man, it's such a manly thing. And especially when you become a husband, that thing screams, you know, quite a lot. And I want to ask you this in light of that. There was a guest we had, and he had a similar story. And now he's like killing it, you know?
Yeah.
In fact, 2 guests I asked this, and I want to ask you as well. Like, how does it feel now? You know, like, how does it feel to have the car you had before?
Yeah.
And now you have this car.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, sure, dog. Right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel driving with your wife in that car? You know, when she was there, when it was like,
she was there. She was there.
Things are carrying now, right? But you're here now, and you're like, oh, now we're cruising now. Yeah, I just randomly want to take a trip to the shops and say, what are you buying? Nothing. I'm just driving you, girl.
Yeah, I'm taking you to the shop.
Yeah, like, how's that for you, bro?
How does it feel to be on the other side of this path?
Yeah, come on, bro. Come on.
No, man, it feels amazing.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you. It feels amazing to be able to say, hey, I got out of work early.
Yep.
Let's go on a date. Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Where do you wanna go? Oh, I'm picky.
Sure.
You know, it feels amazing.
Sure.
You know? As a husband, like you know, as a husband, as a man, you feel like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm killing it.
Yeah.
I'm killing it. You know,
Sure.
it feels amazing. To do the things that she was doing for me. When I was down and out, you know, and to do more. So I relate with that, you know, that reckless season where you're like, nah, she deserves this.
Yeah.
She deserves. You even having your own voices and conversations in your head. Why you should spend this money? You're like, nah, she needs this thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's funny. It's funny, you know, but you know, I think every man's wife. Well, it should be this way. Every man's wife is his queen. You know, she's here. You know? I feel like that's how your wife should be.
Yep.
You know, she's here, and you know, it's like you know royalty. You know, the queens and whatever, what they do for them, especially when you watch it in the movies. Like, no, this is how they were living.
That's how they live, bro.
You know, and that's how you feel.
Sure.
You know, you feel obligated as a husband to do all of that stuff. So it feels great to see the look on her face when I come home with like a shopping bag, and I'm like, close your eyes, you know. Close your eyes.
Cheers, sir.
And then she opens her eyes and she can't believe her eyes, you know. It's like when it's the same feeling even with your kids.
Sure.
You know, when you do something for your kids that they didn't expect, like you got them a new toy, or you take them somewhere and you just see that their eyes are like beaming, the smile is ear to ear. So I think as a husband, that like it fuels you. You know, it really fuels you, and it feels good, you know, to be doing it for once. You know, to be on that other side of that you know, that situation.
Still, bro.
Yeah.
I'm reminded now of my kid when you speak about giving gifts, you know, and kids can be
so easy to please,
and they're so selfish.
Yes,
I'm like,
they don't care.
I'm like, you little bastard. Like you know, in those moments, I'm like, my dad left me. I'm here.
You should know that.
So please, like,
behave.
Like, you shouldn't be getting anything. My dad left.
Let me pull that trigger,
boy. So my kid, we pick up from school. And every day, bro. Do you guys have a surprise for me?
How?
And then I'm like, girl, you know, a surprise is a surprise. You're not supposed to know about it. And you can't demand a surprise, right? Anyway, then she, like, next week, she tried to change her tactics. Do you have a surprise that moves?
How?
So she probably wants like a toy car that could move on its own, whatever. So I'm like, this one I know how to solve. Next day comes in the car. So did you guys get me a surprise that moves? I was like, yep. She's like, oh, okay. I'm like, close the car doors, close it. I move the car. I'm like, look. It's surprisingly moving. And I'm like, guess what? It's going to move all the way home.
What did she say?
She was pissed, bro. She was pissed, bro. She was pissed. I'm like, if you've ever imagined like hell's anger in a 6-year-old, that's what my daughter had that day. And I'm like, so when we get to traffic lights, I'm like, it stopped. Look, when the traffic light goes green. It's a surprise that moves. And my wife is like, are you evil, though?
Hey, are you wicked?
You evil, though. What are you doing, right? So I'm like, kids can be very, very selfish, bro.
No,
but man, the feeling of taking care of your family, man, like that thing.
Nothing beats that.
Yeah. And the opposite is true. It's crushing if you can't.
100%,
you know?
Yeah.
No justification, but I was doing a thing with another organization, and they've released a movie on fathers and why they should play with their kids. At the premiere of that movie, one of the people who were involved was like, man, one of the biggest reasons fathers have cited and why they leave is financial pressure. So one of the biggest reasons. They just like, I was retrenched for too long. It got too much.
Yeah, I had to leave.
I bounced. You know, and he's like, I don't have work. I'm not looking after another family. It was hard, man. It was a depressing experience, and just always seeing the faces of my family and not knowing how I'm gonna take care of them. Yeah, it was just debilitating. It was crushing, you know. And so they leave. So anyway, one other thing I said I wanted to pedal back on, because there were two things, was again just how your parents reacted. But how did her mother react when you said you're gonna marry her? Hey, Beans and Bonds, the 6th edition. Man, I'm tired of asking you if you can believe it, because if you don't believe by now, forget about it. We are not stopping. We're back at it again, the 26th of July, right here at Christchurch Midrand. Doors open at 9:30 to sharply start at 10, and we finish at 1 p.m. Y'all have told us how incredible it's been to be in the room to champion husbands who want to become better. And so we're asking you to pull through again, because we want to see this country change through one husband at a time, at one Beans and Bonds every single month. Right? So make sure that you are booking your spot. I'm going to be in the room. Tware Lekabe is going to be in the room. And Modise Sekhote is also going to be in the room. Whether you are old, you are young, you are single, you are married, you are divorced, make sure that you are pulling through and you are booking your seat right now. How much is it going to cost you? Just $150. So make sure that you're hitting the link, or you are scanning the QR code that appears on the screen right now, so that you secure your spot. What are we talking about? Man, we're going to be talking about when good things become unhealthy escapes. You might not be cheating. You might not be fighting, you might not be shouting at your wife, but you started disappearing into your phone, into late night emails, or you started doom scrolling because you've lost a sense of control over your marriage. And so as men, we sometimes find it hard to sit in the discomfort. And so what do? We press into our habits, we press into our hobbies, and we press into hiding. And so we want to make sure that we are coming through together as men to, one, help each other understand why we escape. Number 2, how do we actually deal with avoidance and fight for connection? And number 3, how do we make sure that we have healthy ways to decompress and not press into distancing ourselves from our wives? Pull through. It's going to be an incredible time together when good things become unhealthy escapes. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's a friend. Make sure that you are booking a seat for them to pull through this July, the 26th, Christchurch Midrand, 9:30 to start at 10 to finish at 1 p.m. Beans and Bonds. All right, peace. See you there. One other thing I said I wanted to pedal back on, because there were two things, was again just how your parents reacted. But how did her mother react when you said you're gonna marry her? You have to take water for this one.
Yeah. I need to say, I need to say for this
one. You're like, yeah, I shouldn't upset the in-laws.
Hey man. Funny enough, they were actually welcoming of it. And I'll tell you why. So in that final year, I used to drive her home a lot, like whenever she'd go on holidays, because I
Sure.
wanted them to know me and familiarize with myself, so that it's not a shock when I do this. So I had a strategy, you know. So I went there and whatever, and she said that, hey, I can't tell them I'm coming with my boyfriend. You know, what do you mean? That's disrespectful, you know. I was like, nah, tell them. Also, she actually got advice from a friend. The friend was like, nah, tell them he's your friend.
Yeah.
They'll know.
Where's
They'll know
home for her?
It's it was Val, but it's Boxburg. When before we got married, it was Boxburg.
Cool.
Yeah. Mine is Polokwane.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I kept on seeing them, you know, playing with her little brother and everything. I was there. They knew Shaun. You know, they knew Shaun. And so when the letter came, they were like, how Mahlangu? Who's this guy?
Yeah.
And then she's like, and she gave it to her grandmother, not the mom. She gave it to her grandmother first because she was like, hey, I can't go to the moms. So he gave it to the grandma. She's like, Mahlangu, who's Mahlangu?
Yeah.
No, Kishon.
Sure.
Huh?
Sure.
She was like, your friend Shaun.
Yeah.
Because they genuinely thought we were friends. I was like, hey guys, hey.
Poor mothers.
Bruh. And then so she accepted it. She was happy. She was like, also so my wife asked her grandmother, she was like, so I'm afraid to tell my mom about this and all of that. And then she was like, what are you saying? Do you want to get married? And then she said, yes, I want to get married. I love him. He makes me happy. And then she's like, yeah, that's what matters. Your mom will deal with
This is
your
a
mom.
grand saying that.
Yeah, this is grand. We'll deal with your mom.
Crazy.
It's not a problem. I sharp. And then so she said, so she was home for the weekend. So she told grandmother, hey, don't tell this person up until I leave.
Sure.
So the grandmother tells the mother. And then the mom, obviously I wasn't there, but she was happy.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, she accepted the letter. I think they wrote back and whatever. I was like, oh, okay. All right, not bad. And then so I found out later why moms allowed it to happen. She said no. I think it was actually a speech at our wedding. She was like, no, I allowed them to get married because they were both young. They're the same age. He didn't come as some older guy that wants to take my daughter and whatever. They were both young and dumb.
Sure.
So they'll make mistakes together. Exactly.
Come on, boy.
Exactly. You know, so that was her philosophy that no, these two are the same age. Let them do it. Let them see. Let them try this out.
Sure.
But she was like, definitely if it was some older gent,
sure.
she's gonna be like, nah, bruh. Go find people your age. You know, so and she was right.
That's dope, bro.
She was right.
Yeah. That's incredible, man, because considering, you know, like you said earlier on, grand's single mom, single mom. Most cases, those kind of situations, people become very bitter towards marriage. And so when there's a whiff of it, they're like, nah. Right? Yeah. Either because they're fearful. Didn't work for us.
Yeah.
How do you think it's gonna work for you?
For this person, yeah.
Or out of jealousy, you know. We didn't get it. What makes you think you're gonna be the first one to get it, you know? So I'm like, man, it's so beautiful to see just their redemptive outlook and for them to think, yeah, sure, you know, and we're not gonna impose. Grands is like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna impose my own ideas on this thing, you know what I mean? And like, it's incredible, bro, when you hear stuff like that. For me, stories like that, I'm like, yo, such a blessing.
It is.
Secondly, I'm like, Shaun, don't be a flop, man.
Yeah.
Right flop, bro.
Hey, you're right about that.
I'm like,
yo,
my turn. If you ever think about being single too much, smack yourself.
100%.
Right? Call me. I'll find these mics. I'll hit you and then we'll buy us part of 20 bucks and heal you, dog. Yeah, to remember. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I hear that and I'm like, such a dope story, but also like just a warning, man, because we live in a fallen and broken world, you know, and, and things can happen. We're not perfect people. We're trying our best. You know, by God's grace, we want to fail forward and love our wives in ways that are healthy. Yeah, and we are aware that there's things in the world that could try and trip us up.
100%.
And I always say to guys, in fact, we have every last Saturday of the month, we have a live podcast recording. So the last one, we call them Beans and Bonds. beans for coffee cups, bonds for connections. I was saying at the last one, we were talking about accountability. And I was like, man, for a husband, have an older guy that keeps you accountable, so somebody like your dad, whose voice is stern enough that when you start to act stupid, he can call you out, and even possibly could beat the living daylights out of you.
Yeah.
Where hey, I'm shy, right? So called you back into order. I mean, you have two sons. At some point,
I'm gonna need to do that.
Where it's like, no, we're done talking here. And I always reference this TikTok video, and I think it's on Instagram as well. But this mother's trying to get her son to sleep, and this kid is screaming. Dad walks in, bro, snaps his fingers, and just goes, "Hey!" Kid goes to sleep, bro. Done. Bed. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, every husband needs that voice.
100%.
You need that guy who's just gonna say, your wife just called me. I'm coming. And you like, dang it.
Oh my God.
Dang it. Dang it. I have to hide my kids because I don't want to get a beating in front of them. Right? Like, need to hide my sons because now they're gonna see me getting trapped, dog, right? You need that guy, dog. But you also need like people that you don't want to disappoint.
100%.
So for me, my mother-in-law is one of those women. My mother is another one, And then in the church that I'm in, it's all the old ladies.
Yeah.
All the kokos. I'm like, dang, dog. Now I have to go tell Skrizas Mang that Moshi. Oh! I'm like, forget it.
No way.
There's no way. When my heart starts becoming wild and I get too excited and I'm thinking of stupid things,
you picture the goggles.
I'm like, Skriz. No way, bro.
Yeah.
Just calm down, dog. Because I'm like, listen, you'd rather have this conversation with yourself than to go explain to that Skriz.
100%.
I fell. Things were rough. And I'm like, they care for you, they love you, they think the world of you. Like it's they're not gonna be angry, they're just gonna be disappointed.
Yeah. Bro. And that's worse.
That's crushing, bro.
That's worse than anger.
That's worse than anger, yeah.
And even the look on their faces is gonna hit hard.
Hard.
Yeah.
And so I always think about those Grisels and I'm like, nah, bro, it's not worth it, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my wife and my marriage and my daughter are protected by those faces.
100%.
God has used
100%.
those faces, you know what I mean?
100%.
So that's pretty dope, man. Shout outs to your mom and your grandmother-in-law. If that's a thing, grandmother-in-law.
It's definitely it's grandmother.
Yeah,
it's grandmother. It's definitely grandmother, especially mother-in-law. Because strict. Yeah, you can tell this is a lady that is really I don't want to say not struggle, but she is seasoned in life because she was married actually. She's seasoned and everything. She's gone through. She's lived abroad. She's also an inspiration of mine because she's really pushed. Even career wise and all of that. But she's straight. I picture her. I'm like, hey. I don't want to have to go and explain a lot of things, Nah, bro, And then on the flip side, I have two younger sisters, right? So they saw my dad do it.
That's crazy, bro. That's my story as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey.
What are their names? What are their names?
Hey, yeah, maybe maybe they have the same names.
What are their names?
It's Ngose Kona.
Okay.
And Spusisiwe.
Okay, that's far.
Yeah.
That's far. Because for us, it's Mlungi, Sulungi, Lenolung.
How, mom? Come on, bro. Come on. Yeah. So it's definitely those two because they saw my dad do it. How old am I now? Okay. So they are married for 29 years this year.
The parents.
This August.
Fire, bro.
Yeah. 29 years. So
shout outs, bro.
They saw him do it. Right. Now they're seeing me doing it. And they're women, young women.
Sure.
So they obviously know what to look out for and what not to look out for in a partner, in a husband. So it's that thing you would see. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people in this thing, in this mix that I cannot disappoint.
God, bro.
Another one is my cousin.
Yeah.
I call him Pastor Arch because he's a pastor at our church.
Sure.
He's a guy with 5 kids.
Yeah.
He's also, I don't know how long he's been married for, but it's also long. But he's a person, because my dad is in Polokwane.
Okay.
If I'm having any issues,
Yeah.
I call him. I'm like, hey, big bro, Wanna money.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I need you.
It's happening.
What's happening? So
Sure.
yeah, it's definitely these people that like, keep you grounded.
It's fire, bro.
And even the church, it's
Yeah.
it's all the other parents, all the other husbands and all of that, that always come to you like, hey, how do you do it? Hey, 3 kids.
Yeah.
All of that. How do you do it, man? But
yeah.
you think of those people because you're like, hey, they keep asking me how do I do it. So
Yeah.
I need to keep doing it.
Yeah, I need to keep doing it, bro.
I need to keep doing
Fire.
it. So it's definitely people that, keep you grounded.
Sure.
And obviously social media, there's people that are watching.
Yep.
You know, you don't want to have to go on your story
and explain
many things. Nah.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to find myself in that place.
No, 100%. And somebody might hear that and be like, "Oh yeah, why you doing this for the socials, bro?" And it's like, no, it's just another wall I'm using to keep me from being stupid.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
It.
Yeah. 100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bro, you got married 100 times, man.
You saw that.
You got married 100 times. At some point, I'm like, look, is the 14th of October the official one? September. Okay, there was a proposal with it.
Yo.
It's like, I'm like,
there's so many.
And I was like,
there's so many.
Shaun has to explain. Are you actually married? Let's say, are you?
Let's start there.
Keep on, you talk, right? So, run me through all the various dates, ones, bro.
Yeah. I hope my memory serves well because I think there's 2 dates that are the most important to the both of us. So
sure.
The other ones kind of like kick rocks. Okay. No, you get surprised when you get a message. Hey, happy anniversary to both of you. I'm like, hey, what date is it?
There's another one.
Sure. So the first one, actually, I think this is good to let you know.
Sure.
So we're dating for just a little bit over 2 years, 2018.
Yeah.
December. I decided I'm gonna take some of this money. I'm gonna go see her. We're gonna meet. She's gonna come from home. I'm gonna come from Polokwane.
Okay.
I took a taxi all the way.
Sure.
We met up. Sure. Right. We had a date. She had to leave the same day. So it was literally like an in and out kind of thing.
Sure.
Right? And so that day, I had decided long before then. But that day, I decided that I want to marry this person.
Wow.
So this is something that even our parents don't even know.
Wow.
So I went to American Swiss.
Yeah.
Got a ring for 500 rand. Nice one. Bro. Beautiful ring. On, boy. So met up with her. And then we're in my room at Res.
Yeah.
Literally got down on one knee and said, I told you that I would marry you. I obviously don't have it all together now. We're still students. We're still figuring it out and all of that. But one day, so sign on my face, and I'm gonna bring the cows home.
Yeah,
Sure. Gave her the ring. She accepted it. She was happy. So people don't even know.
Bro, 5 clips for a student.
Yeah,
that's gang loads of money.
No, I was busy, man.
Yeah.
No, I was busy. I had a bursary.
Yeah.
I was selling shoes.
Yo.
And my parents were sending me an allowance.
Wow.
So I was really pushing on the shoes. Like every week. Sure. We used to like go on like dates, like serious dates.
Proper, bro.
Especially when my parents got me a car. Now it was now it was crazy.
Now you're killing it,
for the day. Those were amazing times. Sure. Those were incredible times. But it built our bond.
Sure, man.
It built our bond, and she saw those things even way before the struggles ever came from my end.
Yeah.
So it built a foundation.
Sure.
So 2018 we actually got engaged. Yeah. People don't know this. People don't know this.
So you engaged before the engagement.
Yeah. Sure. I got her that ring, and then I think she got me one as well.
So 2018.
2018.
Wow, bro.
She got me one as well. And every time we'd go home, we had to remind each other, take off the ring. Put the ring away. Yeah. Put the ring away. You can't know.
That's crazy, bro.
So I'd leave it in my car there.
Yeah.
Put it there.
It's wild, bro.
It's crazy.
Yo. So you're already locked in.
I was
there, bro.
Locked in then. I knew. I was like, I need to get married to this person.
Bro.
Yeah, so that's the first date. I don't know what date it is.
And so that date is one of the dates that you guys celebrate.
No, not even.
Okay, you
Not
don't celebrate
even.
that.
Yeah, no. That's a random date. I don't even remember the
Okay,
date. Yeah.
okay, sure.
And then the next date was 2020, 19th of December.
Okay.
That's when I went to go start lobola.
Okay.
Kota.
Yeah, sure.
Did the whole shebang and everything. We took pictures in their garden there. They were
That's
living.
where you went on your knee.
Yes.
Publicly.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, publicly.
Sure.
With another ring.
With another ring.
Yeah, I needed to get another ring.
Sure.
So that's December 19th, 2020, and then 2021 October. I mix these dates up a lot. October 13th.
Okay.
We went to Home Affairs.
Yeah.
This was after I'd finished Ilobola.
Okay.
Yeah, where I have the ngubo, the Sotho ngubo,
yes.
you know. And then so we went to go sign, and that one was actually crazy because it blew up. It was everywhere, and it was everywhere because people thought that we just woke up and decided.
Oh, smack! They eloped.
Yeah, they eloped.
Smack!
It was so bad. I even still to this date, those posts, the comments are off.
Smack!
Yeah, because of that. It was bad. It was on Twitter. It was on some magazine, newspaper thing.
Bro.
We were getting messages from people. Hey, do you see what these people are saying? I'm busy fighting for you on Twitter. I'm like, bro, don't do that. I don't need you to fight for me on Twitter, bro. I don't need you to do that. So that happened. It's so crazy because it was such a negative thing,
which is crazy,
you know, such a negative thing. And at the time, it was after we stopped YouTube, right? Because we're about to have a kid, we got pregnant, and we felt like YouTube was invasive.
Yeah, sure, fair.
It gets that way, you know. So I would say we were hiding it because we didn't want that unnecessary attention. We wanted to enjoy, having this pregnancy and having this baby. So people could see from that Home Affairs picture with
there's
something there, you know. And then
you guys ran to sign so you can hide.
You even signing with a baby. That's not how we do things. I was even being told about culture.
Man, you already paid lobola, bro.
No, bruh. People just took it and ran. It was a crazy time. People from coming out of the woodwork, people you haven't spoken to in like 6 years. Like, hey, bro, did you see this?
That's wild.
Man, they talking nonsense, bro. Why don't you go on like a podcast or something and clear this out? I'm like, bro, where am I? Brad Pitt or something? I need to clear this up. Yo, so it was crazy. And then on the flip side, just to show you like how, social media and like, the media in general is just, it's great.
Yeah, sure.
Don't get me wrong. It's great.
I hear you.
But most of it is not real.
Yes.
It's not real.
Yes.
So on the flip side, 14th of November, we have our wedding. All our friends are there, family is there. It's a wonderful occasion. One of the best days of our lives. Went by quick, but one of the best days of our lives. Then we had...
It does, bro. By the way, weddings do that.
Yeah.
You plan for 100 years.
Just to have 1 second.
And that thing flies.
It just flies.
Quick, bro.
So it flew, and then at the end of the day, we had Des Mungai. He's like a photographer from back home. He took our pictures, very beautiful pictures. Dope. Love those pictures.
Sure.
And then so obviously I've always been a poster. Whether you like me or not, I'm on a post.
Yeah,
Whether you think I eloped, I'm on a post.
Yeah.
So I post those pictures. Now the whole opposite of what happened with the Home Affairs picture happens with this. Oh wow, guys, amazing! Wow. The same magazine that was painting us like was some naughty kids.
Wild.
Is now saying, wow, they got married, guys. Now amazing. And I was like,
what?
Dude, it was crazy. Even on Twitter, it was crazy. Oh, wow, this is so amazing. This is awesome. And all of that. And I was like, yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
That's when I saw social media for the first time. I thought I knew it.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Like, a tool is great.
Yeah.
Depending on how you use it.
Yeah. And so that was like the final date. So the two most important dates are the 19th of December, because that was the very first time that I went and got this thing started officially, publicly. So it's a very important date for us. We make it our marriage date. Yeah. And then the next important date is the 24th of July. That was the day we sat down. It was after a weekend, a crazy weekend with her and I. It was just weird. Just a whole lot of weird stuff going on. We were fighting, then we were making up, making up, whatever. So on Monday, she called me and she sent me a text. She's like, we need to talk. I was like, how? What's happening now? Hey, Bankala.
We need to talk.
You know? So we sat down on a bench at campus. And she asked me this question. She's like, so what is this? Like, what do you mean? She's like, what is you and I? And I was like, jokingly, I was like, it is what it is.
By the way, don't do that. When your wife asks you a serious question, don't be a clown.
Don't be a clown.
It is
what it is, you know. But then I told her, I was like, nah, man. I want you to be my girlfriend. So that's like, when I say we've been together for 8 years, that's the date I'm referring to, the 24th of July. Yeah. So those we celebrate. Because I feel like that's the day, December and July. That's the day this started. This whole, you know, this family, this marriage, this friendship, you know, started. And then that date, the marriage, bringing the families together. That's why those 2 dates are significant.
That's fire, bro. A lot of couples, you know, especially Christian couples, tend to struggle with when they technically married, you know. So some of them are like, am I married when I pay lobola? You know, am I married only when we've done the official ceremony at the church? You know, and this is like a whole other deeper conversation around, you know, culture, faith, etc. You know, and I'm like, I think once you paid lobola, and even now, the law has, you know, kind of updated that, and it's been more public rather, you know, customary law, what that means. You know, if you write a letter like you did, it qualifies. As this, we're married now. The fact that there was intent. We see the letter, right? So I'm like, I think there's things about the law that have been updated and been made public. But for me, I'm like, man, like even wearing a white dress and a tuxedo, that's somebody else's culture. Right?
True.
People think
very true.
That's the church. I'm like, it's not the church ceremony. That's somebody else's culture.
100%.
It's a Western culture, you know. And so if I wear my traditional Ndebele clothing, that's my culture.
100%.
You know? So if I pay lobola, and then because I'm a Christian, I can call my pastor to come to the lobola ceremony and just marry us. Then I'm married before family and God in that instance. I don't have to go to a church to wear a tuxedo. My wife wears unless that's just what we want.
And get groomsmen and what's the other
bridesmaids.
Thing? Bridesmaids,
yes. You know, I'm like, unless we've both had fantasies about, hey, this is our perfect wedding.
And that's okay.
That's fine as well. But now don't try and diminish the other by elevating the other one. You know? So no quote unquote white weddings. That's the official wedding. What we did that's not. And I'm like, no, that is official. Even the law recognizes that. What do you guys feel is the thing that you're gonna recognize together? You know what I mean? So I'm like, it is obviously a larger conversation, but just quite keen in hearing what you're saying. You know? So that 19th was in December, rather. That was your official wedding. That's what you consider.
Well, we got married.
December
19th. But the official wedding is November 14th.
So you mean the celebration? Step.
The celebration. So that was just that was the celebration. And for us, we never wanted to have I don't know, is it an official saying to say white wedding or like
sure. You never had a white wedding?
Yeah, never had a white wedding. We didn't want one because we felt the traditional was enough. And that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see the developed patterns on different people, on different, you know, combos, that whole thing. And we wanted to see Shishweshwe. That's that Sotho pattern. We wanted to see, you know, these colors, that symbolism of like these two cultures, these two families, you know, coming together. So for us, a white wedding was just like at the time it was like a waste of money.
Sure.
For us, it was just like
Sure.
we're already married,
Which
we
most
already
of
had a
them are.
celebration, and my wife and I think the same. We thought it was a waste of money. We're definitely not about to go into no debt to just have a celebration.
Sure.
And we always say this to each other, my wife and I said, batho ba tla ba ja di-rice le beetroot, and then you never hear from them for 5 years.
Yep.
When you're going through things, they are nowhere to be found, So
Hundreds, bro.
for us, that one celebration was so great. It was so great that it was enough.
Yeah.
It was not even just enough. It's what we wanted.
Yeah.
It's what we wanted.
That's good.
If we do have the tuxedo and the white gown and whatever, maybe for like a vow renewal with close friends and family, we'll still do it.
Sure.
Not throwing any shade on a white wedding.
But you're not going to waste money either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not going to waste money.
Yeah.
Not going to spend money I don't have on it.
That's good.
But
bro.
that wedding, even the way it came together, we didn't spend money. The families came together. People in the churches came together. I do catering, whatever. Literally, what my wife and I spent on was our outfits.
Yeah.
And we arrived.
Sure. That's good, bro.
That for us was everything.
Yeah, that's good, bro.
It was everything. So we didn't feel the need to do more. Even now, we still like, if we do it, we're just doing it.
Yeah.
But
sure.
Yeah.
Nah, I hear you, bro. That's dope, man. And I always advocate for that, bro. If you can't get married, don't splurge if you don't have the money.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to start your marriage broke.
100% or in debt.
Yep. Your wedding is quick, bro. It's one day.
It's one day.
Yeah, but then you have a debt for 5 years, and that's gonna be a heavy boulder that you carry, especially in the early years when you need to have freedom to figure yourselves out.
Yeah.
If you have kids, figure that out. You don't want to do that with debt, man. So yeah, that's dope, bro. How many people did you have at your wedding?
Sure. I don't even know. We didn't have like a guest list or anything. Right?
Okay.
But we did send invitations to certain people.
Okay.
And we said, okay, some people could bring plus ones.
Sure.
Some people couldn't bring plus ones.
Sure.
Right. But the number we thought about is not the number that arrived.
Yeah.
So, but luckily it
bro.
wasn't a situation where people could just pull up, pull up and stuff. Because at home we have a plot, so we built. That's where we had our wedding.
Okay.
At my parents' house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
venue costs taken care of, done.
Yeah, exactly. And so her side of the family is huge. The family tree is insane, actually. Sure. People like origins go all the way back to Lesotho. So people from Lesotho were there. Sure. People from Val were there. Sure. People from Joburg were there, and all of that. And then on my side, I think our family was a bit like scattered.
Okay.
But I think weirdly enough, there was just a whole lot of weird stuff going on my side of the family. Most specifically on my mom's side of the family. Sure. I mean, I had uncles I grew up with that didn't even come to my wedding, kind of thing, certain cousins.
Did they say why?
No.
Sure.
No, till this day I don't know.
It's crazy.
So it was just weird, and I was like, okay, I don't have any beef with you. If you have beef with my mom or you have beef with somebody, start me, dog. Like come through. Yeah. But it didn't diminish like the celebration and whatever. But I think it was like, I'm pretty sure it was like 100 people. Yeah, maybe 150. Okay. It was just people everywhere. It was just people everywhere, kids. It was everything. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We did 64, I think.
64.
Yeah.
How did you cap that? Like,
our criteria was if one of us dies, if I die, or my wife dies, who will look after the surviving spouse?
Oh wow.
And so we're like, comrade. Last time I saw you was at a funeral.
Yeah.
So sorry to
but that's a good way to base it on.
Yeah. And let me also be fair. Like, don't have a relationship with my dad. And so And so that just cuts out that side of the family.
Yeah. Automatically. Yeah, it was an easy one.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't have to worry there.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, my own dad doesn't want to come to the wedding. So I'm like, not going to randomly now invite his cousin. And I'm like, it's going to be weird,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
And then from my mom's side, I was just like, one, we don't want to spend money we don't have. But then secondly, I'm like, I'm cool with people. We're cool. If I'll see you at the next funeral, I'll be polite. I'll be fine. Be cool. But man, like, I don't check. So it's not even on you. It's on both of us. We don't even check in on each other because we just not cool like that.
Exactly.
Right? And it's fine. Like life happens, you know? So I'm like, who are people that are just regularly in our lives? You know, and I'm like, because another thing is we saying our vows before God, but the people that we invited, they're not just there for the beetroot and the rice.
Exactly.
They're supposed to be witnesses as well.
Yes.
And actually take vows to look after us. Right? So you're not just there for the pap.
100%.
You actually, this is a serious matter.
Yeah.
We invite you because we are saying, think about it. When you come here, you need to keep both of us accountable to this thing that now we've been called into.
Need to protect this union.
Need to protect it. So if you see me one day at Music Cafe twerking on the table, you need to call me out, dog.
100%.
Because you came to the wedding.
Me out of that place right
Drag
now.
me, dog. And I've given you permission.
Yeah.
By allowing you to come to my wedding.
Yes, 100%.
So you drag me off the table because you were like, hey, I'm also responsible for this
you.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I witnessed.
And
I'm witnessing this now.
Yes.
Nah.
I'm dragging
I'm
you.
dragging you, bro.
and so it was that. And then we were just like, man, you know, who because there's people, you know, that we didn't even know for long.
Yeah.
But around the time we were getting married, those people were we were like, man, these people are actually going to be in our lives for a very long time. And so then we like, dope. These people would definitely look after one of us. Let's say we had a kid and maybe both of us die. These people would be the community that will jump in, no questions asked. Yeah. They'll just be like, this is our kid, man. We're going to look after them, you know? So I think, and then part of that, it was also thinking, who do we want to be friends with for
life? For
life, you know? Some of those relationships didn't last, you know, so they were at the wedding and life happened after that. And it was like, all right, cool. That's fine. But our intention was to continue doing life with these group of people, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so that was that. And I think this is just a note for anybody watching. Like, man, don't spend millions on you unless you have them.
Unless you got it like that.
And it's just change.
It's changed for you.
Just change.
Like, life is not going to change after.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So before, there's somewhere I want us to go, but maybe this is a big one. You know? It's your brand, bro. Modern Dame Kwenyana.
Yeah.
Why? How? How's it going?
Yeah. I'll start with the why.
Yeah.
I was Modern Mkwenyana.
Yeah.
Before I started working.
Okay.
You get me?
Sure.
So I was making sure I'm cooking.
Yeah.
I started cooking in varsity, cooking for her. I was like, I want to cook for this girl. She's going to come here. I'm going to knock her socks off with this meal.
Shangama Wagyu.
Exactly. Hey, yeah.
I was like, hey, this is not a broke husband, this one. Hey,
now
I can see the marbles, dog. Yeah.
Now I was doing the most, you know. It was that, and at some point, I was cleaning. But I think the big thing was that I was young, and I knew. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this well. I'm gonna do this well. I'm gonna take care of this woman. So I'm a modern Mkwenyana because I'm not doing it conventionally.
Sure.
My wife doesn't have to cook and clean. She does it because she wants to. She wants to take care of her home. And I think that's what happens when you love on your spouse in all ways with no conditions, where you're even willing to step in if she can't do something, you know? So it's a thing where, like, my wife, by the way, someone said when we posted our maternity pictures for this third one that I need to get off of my wife. They said I need that influencer man to get off of that woman. And I knew they were talking about me,
They
you know.
used to get clapped.
And I just want y'all to know this woman was happy to have these children.
Yes.
She wanted to have these children.
Yes. In fact, every kid is an indication that you loving your wife.
100%.
There's many
100%.
married
and if
people.
I have a fourth one, guys,
That's
none
it,
of
bro.
your business.
It's none of your business, bro.
It's none of
There's
your
married
business.
people who don't have sex, dog.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this we should celebrate
More often than you guys.
Yes. We should celebrate.
You
Man, Shaun is having sex.
Exactly.
You
Wow.
married. You
Yes,
should
never
have
fruits.
sex, dog. Yeah. Right? God said stall before. Now it's
Yeah.
like, sure, go
Yeah.
enjoy. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, you
And-
should.
Yeah, and I think I'm a modern Mkwenyana because of my children
Yeah.
and how I had them. It wasn't planned, but
Sure.
it was obviously in God's plan. So, yeah, and the brand now, it used to be about cooking and all of that stuff. The more life went by, the less time I had on the stove, with the wagyus
Sure.
and all of that. And now it's just it's doing what you guys are doing, is giving marriage and family positive PR.
Come on, bro.
I think for me that's very important because you will be in different spaces with different people and they just have a terrible outlook on having kids or a terrible outlook on marriage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's hard work, it's hectic, it's intense, but nothing in life worth having is easy. If you have it easy, the way it comes is the way it goes.
Yeah.
If you had it easy, it's gonna go easy.
Yeah.
So I want to show young guys that it's possible.
Stop.
No matter where you're at in life, you could be a student, stand up, stand on business, take care of that pregnant girl, even marry her. Don't run. You're running from a blessing.
Sure.
I think there's a phenomenon that I've observed with men who run away. They don't prosper.
Yep.
They struggle.
Yep.
I saw it with my wife's I think my wife's dad. I've seen it with friends, cousins whose dads they left. They don't go and be great. Some of them actually flop. They get sick. So I feel like running away from a child, if you're running away from a blessing, what are you running towards?
Yeah, man.
A curse.
Curse, bro.
Exactly. So I feel like there are definitely laws, universal laws.
Sure.
That and on the flip side of that is that the child and their mother will do well.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
They
God
do
takes care
well.
of the orphans and the widows. Bro.
Exactly. So my brand is telling the guys, don't run away.
Sure.
Do that thing, stand on business. Even if you and your baby mama are not seeing eye to eye and you guys have to break up with her, but don't break up with the child.
Sure.
That's your child. That's your offspring.
Man. Yeah.
And I like to think of it in this way, that if I'm there for my kid, right, throughout his entire life or the rest of my life, rather, what kind of person is he going to be? Being there, influencing, building up his confidence, building him up as a dad. What kind of person is he going to be when he gets married, in society, in the workplace, in whatever he does, right? And if I decide to leave him, what's going to happen? There are two, well, obviously everybody's different, but I feel like there are two types of children that, come from single parent homes. There's some way it affects them badly, bro. Terribly. Where they lash out, where they just have episodes and they don't know why things are just going wrong and all of that stuff. And it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. But as a father, you need to think about that, how this is going to impact this person's life. And then there's people where it doesn't really affect them that much. They're like, okay, my dad is not around. Okay, cool, but I'm loved. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, but you never know what you're going to get.
Yep.
I have 3 kids, 3 different personalities.
Hundreds, bro.
3 different personalities. I could leave and Zane will be fine. But I could leave and then Langa and Lisa will just be...
Sure.
Yeah, it will affect their mental health, emotionally growing up. It also, I feel like, affects the kind of partner that that you find in life or attract in life.
Sure.
So it's definitely giving marriage and being a father, family, positive PR. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the campaigns and stuff that come in here and there, which is great. We thank God for that. But
Sure.
I want people to see that you can love your wife.
Yeah.
With no conditions.
Yeah.
Did she clean today?
Yeah.
You love her.
Sure.
Did she cook today? You love her.
Sure.
Is she in a good mood today? You still love her.
Yeah.
Good, bro. And even with children, that raising kids is not easy. In terms of effort, in terms of the finances and whatever. But one thing I've seen with kids, number one, they're easy to please.
Yeah.
And what children need, they don't need you to be a millionaire. They don't need you to be rich. They just need you to be there.
Presence, bro.
They just need you to be there.
Yeah. 100, bro.
To guide them, to play with them, to be at their soccer match when it gets there, to be at their graduation. They need your presence. And for me, I see it with my dad, with my parents, is that my dad, after my wife, I think my dad is like my second best friend. He and I just be talking.
Sure.
We're coming up with plans and things and all of that stuff. Like we are one and the same. And I credit the kind of husband I am, the kind of father I am, who I am in the workplace, everything about me. Aside from God, is definitely having my dad around.
It's powerful, man.
That he built up the confidence that I have. He built up the husband in me, and even the patience that I need for my children and for my wife. He instilled that. We talk a lot. We talk all the time when I'm going through things, and that's why I put it out there and I put it on social media, because people don't have that. Some people don't have that.
No, bro.
They don't have that, but I get DMs all the time like, bro, this is so inspirational.
Sure.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for standing. Even myself, when I get the opportunity to get married, I want to be just like you.
Stop, bro.
And you feel humbled, because I feel like I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah, I'm a Popeye,
I'm just a regular guy, I'm just a Popeye. So but it's something where my wife and I talk about it a lot, is that it's a gospel.
Yeah,
it's a type of gospel that you need to spread.
Yeah.
The first institution that God created was a marriage.
Bro.
Before even the church, before disciples, cells, and all of that, it was a marriage, and that's how He wanted it to be.
Sure.
So I want people to see that, and when the opportunity comes, apply it.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's work.
It is, bro.
But even your work at your workplace, it's work.
Yeah.
You need to do it. You need to show up even when you don't want.
Yeah.
And that's just how life is. It's about working, but you work forward. Like you're saying, you fail forward.
Sure, man.
So that is my brand. I'm also blessed to have the friends that I have. Somehow it all came together that we ended up all being married. Well, most of us being married.
Yeah.
And we're just a bunch of goofballs. We're all the same bunch of goofballs, Popeyes.
Yeah.
But we Popeyes that love our wives and love our
on,
kids.
bro.
So it's a wonderful community to be surrounded by. They obviously keep you grounded. We keep each other grounded, and all of that. And they essentially do the same thing on social media. So I think the more of us, the better.
That's it, bro.
Yeah.
That's it, bro. We need more soldiers, bro. That's how we're gonna push back against this darkness, bro, and fight back. So shout outs to you. Sorry for butchering your brand. I called you the modern day.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
No worries.
It's when people call me the husband, and I'm like, it's that.
It's that husband.
It's that.
Not the husband.
It's not hard. I can't.
Very easy.
I can't even spell. That's why I got married. But I can spell that.
Yes.
Right? Please. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry for butchering that, dog. Modern Mgwenyan.
Yeah.
Shout outs to you, bro, for that. And it's incredible, man. Like your story with your dad. That alone, is an episode, bro. And it's inspirational. I saw the picture with you, him, and Zane, and I was like, man, it's fire.
It's a legacy.
Yeah, 3 generations, bro, in one moment. Super rare.
Yeah.
Super rare.
Yep.
Like it's, you are literally part of the 0.001%. 0.00001%.
We need to make it 1 and 10
and 10 and
hundreds.
Yeah. By the time we have great grandkids,
Yeah,
should be a norm.
it should be a norm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that at least there's like 3 generations in one picture.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I
this
mean?
but this new generation is really standing on business, eh?
Yeah.
I see it on social media. I see a lot of young dads,
Yes.
like in the past few years, which is amazing to see. You see them with strollers at
Yes.
Seattle,
Yes.
or,
Yes.
you know,
Yes. Yes.
Plato, or in the
Sure.
mall.
Sure.
You know, so if you're a dad, you're young and you're doing that, like kudos to you.
bro.
Keep it going. Keep it going. We need to see more of that.
Yeah.
We need to see more of that.
So
If I wake up one day feeling like I don't want to dad today,
Mm.
and I see you,
Yeah.
you know, on social
on,
media,
bro.
or I see you at the mall, you know, having patience for a 3-year-old that's having a meltdown,
Sure.
it affects me as well. You
Still,
know, so it's like you said, positive PR. Yeah.
Man, shout outs to you, bro. Shout outs to your wife. Just for allowing yourselves to be used by God to showcase, you know, positive families, healthy families, you know, and changing this country.
Yeah.
Because you're right, bro. Like the fabric of this country will be changed by families, because families are the very threads that build a society, and society builds countries. You know, so if we fail at a thread level,
it's over.
It's over, man. You know, so shout outs to you, man, and shout outs to the gents. Just tell them, that I said shout out.
I will.
Yeah, we need more squads of dudes who will do the right thing, and push each other to doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Because we could come together as gents and just talk rubbish.
Yeah.
And do rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
but we can talk about good rubbish.
Yes.
As well, together.
Yes,
the good kind.
Yes.
Complaining about the kids.
Yeah. So let's actually do proper stuff. When we're together, man. In closing, bro, if you would sit with, you know, Zane, shout out for that name though.
Yeah.
Zanemvula, ne?
Zanemvula,
That name is fire. That name is
shout out.
Yes.
Shout out. Yeah.
I like that. That's a bug name. Who came up with that?
It was my wife, actually. Yeah, she came up with that. I was like, that's hard.
Bro, those are bars, bro. That name.
I was like, that's hard, bro.
That's hard.
Even when we told our parents, they were like, sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking now.
Your dad was here. Oh, dog.
Exactly. I was like, nah, here you cook, baby.
Yeah, you guys cook, bro.
For real, you know.
You
and
must
she
tell your boy.
actually got it from a song. I forgot who's the artist.
Sure.
I think it's is it Berita? I forgot. Closer artist.
Okay.
So it goes Uzane Mvula. So I think maybe her child's name is Uzane Mvula.
Sure.
So she heard that song. She loved that song, and for me it was like all about meaning.
Yes.
Right? It was all about me. So I was like, Zane Mvula. I was like, damn.
Yes.
We need that. We need him. We need that guy.
You pulled a Kevin Hart when he was talking to Don Cheeto. And Don Cheeto said he was like, how old? Like 60, whatever. Kevin Hart was like,
damn. It's like, damn. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, right? So I'm like, it's a fine name. The interesting thing is, and if you're watching, please put this in the comment section.
Yeah.
Our generation, all our kids' names start with Zs.
Really?
There's a bunch of...
Is there a bunch of Zs?
Bunch of Zs, bro.
That's amazing.
My kid's name is Zaya.
Aha.
It was Zanemvula.
Yeah.
In my kid's school, there's a Zaya as well. And I've seen online, I'm like, just a bunch of Zs, bro. And I'm like, I don't know what happened.
I think it's fire because back in the day, if your name started with the Z, you're always the last to get paid.
Yes.
So, you know, you're always the last one to read, unprepared speech, you know. So I think the most hits we have, guys, hey, let's normalize that later, guys.
And I think most of us were running away from giving our kids. Sorry, I'm probably going to offend people. But like, there's just names where you're like, oh, that's an old name, though.
Yeah.
Like, if your name is Petros, I'm like,
Bomagreti, Josephine, come on.
I'm like, now imagine the year is 3034.
Hey.
Petros.
Petros.
Here, man.
Yeah.
Petros.
Come on.
2034. Yeah, maybe 1974.
Yeah.
Petros was fashionable. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. Dog,
Not
come
now.
on. Not now, dog.
guys.
Yeah.
Nah.
So I think most of us are running away from those names, and we're trying to. But I'm like, how did we all end up with like Zeds, bro?
Yeah.
A bunch of our kids' names.
Nah,
are Zeds,
something in the air.
Yeah. What dream do you have for each of them, bro? So when you think of Zane, you think of Langa, you think of Lisa. And one day they, hopefully not scrolling the internet doing stupid things.
Yeah.
But they're doing good things and they come across this episode.
Yeah.
What would you want them to hear your dream for them was?
Like I said, all three of them are different. Even from like Lisa, she's a baby, but you can tell there's some serious girl boss energy here, But I'll start with Zane. With Zane, I want him. My dream for him is, for all of them, is to get married one day. I think it's if you're alone, it gets lonely in this world, and I don't think anybody should be alone. So I want him to get married. I want him to do the thing that he loves. I know that he loves nature. He loves being outside. So I'm betting on a veterinary vet. Oof. A vet. Yes, let me put it like that. Yes. I'm betting on a vet or a farmer. But hey, he could change and all of that. But I think my dream for him is I want people to see he's a very affectionate kid.
Sure.
I want people to experience his love. I want people to, experience his embrace. I want people to experience his presence because when he's around, he's calm most of the time. He's a 3-year-old, you get what you can get.
He's
at
as
that
calm
point,
as a 3-year-old could be.
Yeah.
Sure.
But he has this calming energy, this loving energy and big brother energy, which is very funny. But I think my dream for him is that people get to experience his love and his affection in different ways. I can tell that wherever he's going to be in life, whatever job or business or whoever he's going to be, I want people to experience that guy and be like, damn, his Anemvula is so cool. He's amazing. I want people to, love on him, to love on him as much as he loves on them back. So I think my dream for him is I obviously want him to be successful in anything that he does. But I really want his light to shine through. I don't ever want anyone or anything to dim his light. And then
shout out, bro.
Yeah, so when you watch this in 20 years, you just know I believed in you, bro.
And bring back that check.
Yeah.
That success your dad is talking about, we want 10%
Bring it
of
home.
that, right?
Bring it home. And then Langaletu is like the glue of the family.
Sure.
He's almost 2, but he's a big personality. He's the one when you're in public, he greets strangers. Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Like, hey, stranger danger.
Yeah, he's like, hey, bro, come on, bro. Learn something from your brother, he is like, confidence embodied,
sure.
Excitement embodied. We were even talking about it this week with my wife that whatever Langaletu wants to do in life, we're putting money on it.
Yeah.
If he wakes up and says he wants to be an piano artist, I'm paying for his first music video, bro. Because I know, bro.
He's going to make it.
I know this guy's going to make it. No doubt. Politics, he's going to be the president. I'm telling you,
Shut up.
He has this infectious energy. It gets annoying because he's your kid.
Yeah.
And
he's like, this is enough, bro.
Come on, bro.
I want to sleep, bro.
Yeah, I want to sleep, But my dream for him is that I want people to know him.
Sure.
I want people to know him on a personal, on a public level. I can tell he's gonna be a very big person in the future and whatever he does. So my dream for him is that people get to know this guy.
Sure.
Whether it's gonna make them laugh, smile, or whatever it is. I want people to know about Langaletu. That's how awesome he is.
Shout outs, bro.
If you ever come to my house, I'll invite you.
Sure.
Host you guys.
Thanks, bro.
You'll
it's
see.
on camera now. You can't lie.
Yeah, I can't lie now. I can't go back.
2 months from
Nah,
now.
don't worry. 2 months from now.
I'll be on the party. He hasn't invited us.
He hasn't invited
We're
us.
still hungry. No invite.
Don't worry. I'll even pull out the wagyu.
Come on. Yeah. Now you prating. Now I'm coming. Dog.
So, but you'll see amongst all of our kids, he's the one who interacts with people. He's a people's person.
Sure.
So my dream for him is that, whatever it is that he does, be it in the arts, be it drama, acting, music, whatever it is, I want him to put his voice out there, to put his face out there, his infectious energy out there. I want him to touch people's lives. Maybe he'll be a pastor. Who knows? Because you gotta have that thing to be a pastor. But I want his light. That's one of the reasons my wife named him Langaletu. Is that he's our son, right? But he's such a ray of sunshine. He keeps you present. You come back home from work after a terrible week or a terrible day, and you'll just be there just wanting to be by yourself, and you're scrolling, these phones, you're scrolling on Instagram, and he'll be on the other side of that phone like this. He does this. He does this, and he's like, hi. And then now automatically you're like, let me put this phone away, bro. So my dream for him is I want him to just kill it, man. Whatever it is that he does, I want him to just kill it and be known. And be known. And then Lisa Kanya, oh man, that's my girl, man. That is my girl, man. She is she's gonna be a daddy's girl, babe. I'm sorry. It's just letting you know, just putting it out there.
Sure.
But with her, I can tell that she has she's gonna be serious. Not serious in a bad way, but she's gonna stand on business. Sure. She's gonna stand on it. She's gonna be the one calling out the brothers, pulling them by the ears. Sure. Hey, Mona, hey, behave. I can tell she's gonna be someone who's gonna kill it career-wise, and all of that. So that's my dream for her, is that just because Gila's born doesn't mean she won't be a leader. Because I feel like she's gonna be a leader. She's gonna be someone where I'm 50 and I'm tired of the mom. She'll be like, what do you mean? What do you mean? No.
This is not how you raise.
It's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. So my dreams, you'll see, it's similar with all three of them, because my dream for them is that I want them to touch the world. I want them to touch people. I want them to talk about Zanemvula, Langaletu, Lisa Kanya in a way that I would more than approve. I'd be proud.
Sure, man.
And God would be proud, and would be, it would be acceptable. I don't care what they do. They could be a doctor, they could be a lawyer, they could be do a business selling cups and stuff. But I want wherever they're at in life to feel and know that they are enough. They're enough.
Shout out, bro.
They're enough, and I want wherever they're at to touch people, to touch people's lives, and to make a difference in society. That's why I want all of them to be married. I want all of them to have kids. I want, when I'm 60, I'm an old man, I want to have grandchildren. Chasing them around the house and stuff. So the same way I was fruitful and multiplied, I want them to do it even more, even better. So those are my dreams for my kids. It's obviously nothing specific, but it's obviously be children of God. I forgot about that. They need to be servants of God. No questions. I'll call atheists, Lana. No atheists, no nothing. Hey. And they must get married. They get married to, this might sound controversial, but this is my dream for my child. So don't shoot me. The boys must marry women, and my daughter must marry a man. Thank you.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah,
that's dope. I want to say, black atheists are black atheists until their grandmother comes to visit them. And then they're like, I know, I was at church last week, Koko. Shangam Koko, I could atheist. Yini manje lo wena? Yeah, uyakwazi ukuyibhala lento le. Asinina sinise university nisibuyela ngomsangano.
Exactly.
Grandmother will deal with you, my dog.
Yep.
Man, that's great, bro. I pray, bro, that those dreams come true, man. Pray that they come true. Can I pray for you now, bro?
Yes, please, bro.
It's dope, man. Let me pray, brother. Lord, we pray for the Mahlangus. Thank you so much for their lives. Thank you for how you've raised them, Lord, at such an early age, at a young age, and yet they chose to do your will and be obedient to you, Lord. And you've been faithful and kind to them in how you've shown up in their lives so that they would be able to show up in public with all the ups and downs, with all the victories, with all the valleys that they've gone through, Lord. It only speaks true of your faithfulness and a testimony of your grace over their lives. Pray for Zane, we pray for Langa, we pray for Lisa, and we ask, Lord, that you would be with them at this early age, that you would save them, and that they would be those kids who grow up loving God, loving your people, and wanting to serve you with all that you've gifted them with. We pray that you be with their parents as they love them, Lord, and care for them and look after them in ways that are pleasing to you and glorifying to you, Lord, so that when they're old one day and they are grandparents, Father, they could see just the legacy that you've blessed them with. But legacy doesn't happen overnight. Legacy is the decisions that we take even now, moment by moment. And so I pray for Shaun as he leads, as he gets a great example from his dad, that he would continue that same legacy his dad started. And so we thank you for such families and how they're inspiring us, Lord. And the dream that we have, that we want to change this country at one husband, one episode at a time, to influence one family. Shaun's family and his story gives us evidence and proof that we're not just dreaming in vain, but these things are possible. They're hard, but they're possible. And with you, Lord, they will definitely happen. So we thank you for today, and we pray that you would continue blessing Shaun and his wife and their kids. In your wonderful and precious name we pray. Amen. Bro, appreciate you, man.
Thank you for the prayer.
Man.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Bro, please thank your wife for us, man.
Definitely.
Thank her.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah. Thank the squad as well.
Yeah.
You've shared their lives with us, and it's such a precious thing,
Yeah.
I always say to people who, ask me what my government name is. Like it's not a gift I give everyone. I keep my name to myself. One, because like you've had an experience of how crazy social media is.
Yeah.
We need to keep a distance.
100%.
That's a primary reason, but a secondary reason, I'm like, oh, it's my name. I can give it to whoever I want to.
Exactly.
It just felt right to give it to you, man.
Appreciate you.
So I had to share that with you, bro. So thank you for even just being safe with me. But appreciate that. So thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Hopefully we could have you again after you've given me that Wagyu.
The Wagyu. I know. I'll definitely come back, because I know the Wagyu is gonna smack. So
marbles, bro. Marbles.
So we're actually moving. So definitely August, September.
Alright.
Yeah.
Then
we
we
can
can
kick it.
No, I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, man.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This was certainly a dope one, right? From modern Mkwenyana to that husband, right? We've been here chatting some serious chats. So hope that you would leave your thoughts, your comments, and let's engage. Share this with other husbands. Share this with people who are married and encourage them. And share this with people who have kids. I think this was such an important conversation around that. And if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We drop every Wednesday at 11:30. From me and the squad here, the squad is many. Our interns got interns. All thanks to you guys, right? So clearly we're growing here, right? We'll see you next week Wednesday, right? Peace.